Do you ever draw and nothing comes out, or every time it is in an insanely different style? And all you want to do is draw in a style that you can be proud of? How do we get there? Let's look at how I got there to see if we can find some answers. When I first started drawing, it felt like a no-brainer to draw in my own art style. I had a reference being my friend, and when I drew him, what came out I called my style, and I made sure to stick to it. Every single time I drew in my quote-unquote style, this led to me not enjoying drawing in my own art style. Instead, I would draw in anime styles because those were just way more fun for me. Mine felt basic and the other ones felt cool. This was a good thing though, as I began to pick up my favorite elements of other styles and implement it into my own style. I began to enjoy drawing in my style, something that was rather rare. I was so happy with it, that's all I did. I just didn't feel the need to draw in any more anime styles like Dragon Ball or One Piece because, to me, mine just felt better. But this had a problem. It led to my art style stagnating. This resulted in me drawing less and less as the months went on. One boring afternoon, sitting at my desk, I had an idea. What if I tried realism? Well, it wasn't quite realism, it's more so semi-realism, but you get the idea. This had nearly completely changed my art style. The influence of real life had made me love drawing once more. But just like what had come before, I began to be less and less happy as the time passed, because I was still just drawing in my own art style. Starting YouTube didn't help this in the slightest, and it's quite apparent in my older videos that I wasn't really enjoying the process all too much.
Raid. Finally! I think I did it! Until 5 minutes from now, when I'm most definitely gonna be like, oh, but wait, there's another problem. Now this problem.
It was a bore. It was a slog to get through, forcing myself to draw when I wasn't enjoying it. But I was convinced that I still liked to draw, in my own art style as well. But there was something preventing me from it. I started looking into things, started noticing patterns, started looking at my journey so far, and I had came to the conclusion that it was my style. Something was missing, something wasn't right. In order to find this missing piece, I had challenged myself in these videos to pick 4 artists whose art I enjoy and replicate their artworks and emulate their style so I can pick up on some of their techniques that I can implement into my own, hopefully rejuvenating my love for art once more. And by the end of it, I was right. Even though I hadn't picked up a lot of techniques, the 2 that I did had completely changed how I felt about drawing. I had fun again. But how long will it last? If you notice, there are 4 things that I did in my art journey repeatedly to develop my never-ending evolving art style. Part 1. Finding artists you like. Just like I had found the anime and Instagram artists to inspire me, you too need to do the same. Instagram or Twitter, or now X, is the best place to find these artists, as you most likely are following artists on one or both of these platforms. Now, all you have to do is sift through all those artists that you follow, and maybe some that you come across along the way, and find the ones that speak to you the most. These artists that you choose can have very different styles, or be quite similar, but try not to pick too similar of artists, because then you're not going to be learning as much. And ideally, pick at least 3 artists. Part 2. Referencing other artists. Once you have selected your 3 or more artists, choose one artwork from each artist to replicate. Before you start drawing, I recommend to find that artist brushes or brush set that can most likely be found on their Patreon or something similar. Unfortunately, a lot of artists have their brushes behind paywalls. If you're unable to obtain it, finding similar brushes should suffice. There are plenty of similar brushes that can be found on the art program that you choose. And if you're not using an art program and you're a traditional artist, this doesn't actually apply to you. Probably. After finding the brushes, I recommend to find process videos on their Instagram or potentially a YouTube if they have one. Now you're all ready to start replicating one of their pieces. You should try to be as faithful as possible, trying to encapsulate all the details. Within reason, of course, no need to have it be one-to-one pixel perfect. Part 3. Emulating the art styles. Here comes the hard part. Now you'll be drawing in the artist's style while making an original piece. Just as before, make sure to be faithful to the artist's process and style. And for this, I suggest using a reference like so. So the reference can be the base, and adding the art style is just like adding any old filter. But for this, don't worry as much about the finer details, and more so the big elements, such as if the artist that you choose, maybe they have strong line art, big vibrant important colors, or it could be its muted or dull color palette, and the proportions. But I must warn you, for my case, this part made me rip at a few hairs. But don't be me though. Take a few breaks in between when needed. Part 4. Implementation. Now that you have an understanding of the art styles, you can start combining your favorite elements of each art style and make your own. The first few might be a bit awkward as you figure out how to combine these elements. But after a few, you should be good to go. But if you end up with an art style that you're not happy with, there's a chance that you might need to just do a few more artist studies to get an art style that you're truly proud of. Once you're happy, it is important to keep up these studies every once in a while to avoid the depressed feeling that other artists and I have experienced from drawing in our own style for so long, not updating our art style. And that's it. Have fun drawing in your new art styles, y'all.